Welcome to the Nintendo Wiretap. My name is Amiibo Jason, and on today's episode, we're taking a look at a brand new heap of Nintendo figurines from Wonder Festival in Japan. So, without further ado, let's take a look. Alright folks, Wonder Festival 2019 is going on right now in Japan, and if you're a fan of this festival, if you have any idea what it is, it's essentially a showcase of amazing toys that are coming out soon. Now, it's not just anime figures there's a lot of video game merchandise too, as we've seen in years past. But this year, it looks like we have 10 brand new figures to talk about, and the festival just kicked off. Alright, let's take a look at the Pokemon figures first, and then we'll go into some of the other ones too. So first and foremost, we're taking a look at Dawn from Pokemon. She's also with Piplup. Now, at the moment, this figure is in prototype phase, so it's not painted yet, but even in the grayscale that it's in right now, it looks really nice. Now, if you want to pick this one up, there's really no indication on when we can expect to see this, but I'm guessing sometime later this year. So if you're into these Pokemon figures, which we've seen quite a few so far, this one is probably a good pickup. Alright, moving on to the second figure in the Pokemon line, we have the Gym Leader Elisa. Now, this is one of the coolest ones that I've seen so far. There's this lightning shooting off the base, and really, I just think it looks really nice. Once again, this one is still in prototype phase, so it's not colored in, except for the eyes, of course, but really, it does look really nice. Now, once again, there's no indication on when we can expect to see this one come out, but I'm expecting, once again, sometime either later this year or potentially early next year. Alright, and finally for the Pokemon figures that we've seen this year, we have 3 miniature figures featuring Grookey, Scorbunny, and Sobble from, of course, Pokemon Sword and Shield. Now, once again, these are not painted figures, these are still in the prototype phase, but like I said before, I think these actually look really nice. There's not a lot of toys of any of the new starters yet, so it's nice to see that we're going to get kind of bombarded with these later this year. Alright, that's it for Pokemon. Next up, we're taking a look at Kirby. Now, we've seen Kirby Nandroids in the past, and if you're not familiar with what a Nandroid is, it's this kind of cute, chibi-looking figure from the good folks at the Good Smile Company. Now, in the past, we've seen Nandroids of Kirby, Ice Kirby, and we've even seen one of Meta Knight, but now it looks like Waddle Dee is getting his very own Nandroid too. Once again, this is in the prototype phase, like the other ones too, but still, it looks pretty darn adorable. I can't wait to pick this one up. I actually have the Kirby ones, so this one's gonna look great in my collection. Alright, time to move on to the next Nandroid, and this one is Zelda from The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, what's interesting about this one is we saw this one last year, but it wasn't ready. It was actually in the prototype phase, but now it's in full color, and I absolutely love this thing. She's holding the Sheikah Slate, and she just looks great, and if you own a Link Nandroid, this one is going to look obviously perfect right next to it. Alright, moving on, this next Nandroid is so new that it doesn't even have a picture yet, which is great. I mean, it's not great, but I like the fact that they're teasing it, and it happens to be my favorite one of all of these toys. It is a Nandroid of Bayonetta. That's right, Bayonetta is getting a small, chibi-looking figure, and I absolutely can't wait. Bayonetta is one of my favorite game series of all time, and with the wait for Bayonetta 3 killing me, something like this will definitely make that wait seem at least a little bit more bearable. Now, this one, we have no idea when it's coming out. I'm guessing it's not going to be this year since it's not even in prototype phase yet, but still, I can't wait to see what Good Smile is going to do with this one. Alright, we have one more Nandroid to go, and this one is Amaterasu. I hope I'm saying that right. Is it Amaterasu from the game Okami? I've never known how to say this guy's name, so I'm hoping I have this right. If I don't have it right, let me know in the comments down below. Once again, this one is in prototype phase, but he really does look cute. Now, I'm not a massive fan of the Okami series, but I know a lot of you are, so I'm sure at least some of you must love that this thing is coming. Alright, so that's going to do it for a lot of the cute figures, so let's move into some of the other figures now. Now, we get our first look here at this amazing Fire Emblem Three Houses Figma. Now, unlike Nandroids, Figmas are really more of a representation of what these characters look like in-game. I'm actually more of a fan of Figmas than I am of Nandroids, so this one's really cool. Now, this one is actually from Edelgard from Fire Emblem Three Houses, like I mentioned before. It is still in the prototype phase, but I know with Fire Emblem Three Houses just coming out, a lot of people must really like this one. Now, personally, I'm in the process of playing the game, so I'm not totally invested with this character yet, but but maybe by the time the credits roll, I'm going to want to pick this one up. What do you guys think about this one? It's super detailed. Once again, it's still in the prototype phase, but I'm sure once the color is in this thing too, it's going to look even better. Alright, the next Figma that we have today is the Splatoon boy from Splatoon 2. Now this is really cool too. Now we've seen the Splatoon girl already come out in Japan, it's actually coming out in the US later this year, so it's cool to see that the good folks at Good Smile are making a Figma of the boy as well. There's really something about these figures that I just love. They really capture everything that Nintendo put into these characters from the game, so when this one comes out, it's definitely on the top of my list. Alright, we have one more figure to take a look at today, and this one is probably one of the most detailed ones we've seen so far. And this one is Cosmos Ree from Xenoblade Chronicles 2. She's a blade, and she looks really neat. Now this one is still in the prototype phase too, but luckily it's actually fully colored already, so you have a good idea of what the retail version of this is going to look like. Now this one is very different from the other figures that we've seen before. These are more detailed, they're not really all that posable, and they're a lot more expensive. But if you're a fan of the series, this might be a fun one to add to your collection. So there you go, that's all of the Nintendo themed figures that we've seen so far from Wonder Festival in Japan. I'm expecting even more stuff to start coming out throughout the day, maybe into tomorrow, so stay tuned to Nintendo Wire. We'll let you know as soon as any of these start either A, going up for pre-order, or if more figures get announced. Stay tuned. Now what do you guys think about these? What's your favorite? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And that's going to wrap up tonight's Nintendo Wiretap. I'll see you soon with yet another episode, but as always, until then, stay wired in. Bye, guys.